So let's play this game, Steam Time. We'll do a walkthrough of how to set it up and then also how to play it, and maybe we can play through a round or two. So Steam Time is a game for 2 to 4 players. We have 4 players set up here. It takes about 45 minutes to play. So Steam Time, the theme of the game is a little bit steampunk and a little bit sci-fi. So science fiction in the sense of time travel. Each player plays the captain of an airship, and your airship has special time travel capability, and you are on a mission or a series of missions to travel through time, visit different monuments, and collect resources for the ultimate goal of pleasing your employer, which is a company called Time, which stands for Temporal Institute of Monument Exploration. So basically, you're an airship captain, you have this time-traveling airship, and you're traveling through time around the world to get stuff for Time, the company. Okay, so let's go through the board, the player boards, and as well as the game board. So the ultimate goal is to try to get esteem points, which is represented by this track. This is similar to a victory point track in other games, but in this game we call them esteem points. And the rankings or the scoring is done with this track. So whoever has the highest number of esteem points by the end of the game wins. The game is played over 5 rounds with multiple actions per round. Another main component of the board are these monument boards. So there's 6 of these. There's different monument boards that need to be set up for the number of players you have. So you can see in the corner here we have a setup for 4 players. There's also a setup for 3 and for 2. You always use 6 boards, but they have different action spaces on them depending on the number of players. They are modular, so they're randomized. So the monument boards are in a different order every time. You have to put them out randomly. Now I can explain some of the different things on the monument board. So there's 6 different action spaces on the monument board, up to 6 different action spaces, and each one represents something you do to earn either esteem points or crystals or money or different valuable resources for the ultimate purpose of getting esteem points in the end. The first action space is called the mission action space, which has a green border, and it relates to these mission cards, which are laid out in preparation, and then at the beginning of each new round. And there's not a mission card laid here because there's no mission action space here, so there's no card put here. Going across the board, the next one is called an encounter space. This relates to these encounter cards. So these are encounters with famous people through history, like Nostradamus, maybe a little, or Galileo. Some of them are more well known. And the cool feature is that it tells you about all the famous people on the back side of the game instructions. If you land on one of the encounter action spaces, you choose 2 or 3 encounter cards. The next action space is a crystal deposit where you can get crystals. The next one is called an upgrade action space where you can get upgrades for your airship, which are installed on the sides here when you get them. And similarly, during the first setup, we need to put the upgrade tiles in the places. And then so this one is not used for this round because there's no space for it there. And then continuing on, there is the gold action space. This earns you gold, which comes directly from the bank here. And then lastly, we have the expedition action space, which relates to these expedition cards on the end. These cards, there are different ones for every round. You'll notice there's a Roman numeral 1 on this one. That means these are used for the first round. And then you would start with the Roman numeral 2 for the second round. So we're not going to use this card because there's no action space, so there's no card there. Yeah. So basically, you use these different action spaces to earn resources via a worker placement mechanism, which is you are taking your airships and placing them on these spots on the board to earn various resources. I think the next step we should describe the airship board. So we should set up each player's airship board. So you have to decide who goes first, because each player gets a slightly different setup on their board. The way you decide who goes first is the least punctual person is the starting player, which is Ben, I guess. Why don't you go first? Okay. So the first player gets one steam. This is your steam track. Mm-hmm. You get one green crystal, one blue crystal, one black, one pink, and one gray. And everybody gets those fives. Why doesn't everybody set up theirs that way? The starting player does not get an orange crystal, but the other three players do get an orange crystal. So we can each take that and put it in our orange area. I'll describe what each of these are called generators. I'll describe what they do in a second. The next part of setup is putting your 3 airships into your airship hangar. So we have that done. The first player gets 8 gold. The second player gets 8 gold. The third player gets 8 gold. And the fourth player gets 10. It's advantageous to go first, so as you go further, the players get some additional bonuses so that it evens it out a little bit. The other thing is that the third and fourth players get 1 additional steam. So that's initial setup. It's all described in the manual. These are esteem point tiles. So these, if you've gone around the esteem track once, that equates to 60 points. And so you would take this, I'm red, so say I went around 61 points, I would take the 60 so that I keep track of the fact that I have 60 points, not just 1 point. And then if you go around twice, you would have 120. Yeah, so why don't I go through and describe how the gameplay works now that we've set up the board. Each player takes turns. Mm-hmm. In the player's turn, you can either choose to place an airship on one of these action spaces, and there's various rules for placement, which I'll go through. Each round involves the placement of 3 airships and other activities that happen. But basically, like a round is dictated by everybody placing 3 of their airships. So the first decision point in your turn is, am I going to place an airship or am I going to take the first player tile?
If it's available,
if it's available. So when you take it, you put it next to your board. The first player token can also be used. You can choose to convert 1 steam into 1 esteem point up to 10 times, or you can choose to convert 1 steam into 1 of these multi-purpose time crystals. I'll describe those in a little bit. And you can only do that 1 time. So now let's go through what happens when you place airships. So first, the placement rules. You can only place airships moving forward in the stream of time. So if I place my first airship on this first monument board, I can only place it on the second through 6th boards. Once you place the airship, it stays where it is for that round. And then at the end of the round, you collect your 3 airships, bring them back to the hangar, and then you deploy them again in the second round. So you're not moving them once you place them. So once I place my first one, I have to place my second one at least 1 monument board forward and not back. So say I place my first airship here, I could not place my second airship anywhere behind that in the stream of time. The stream of time goes from this direction up to this direction. In the second turn, I could only place on this monument board or this monument board, but any of the action spaces that are unoccupied. So when you place on a mission action space, you take the mission card. Mission cards are resolved only at the end of the game, so not at the end of the round, but at the very end of the game. You can follow the instructions on the mission card to convert them into esteem points. So basically, this card says, I need 8 gold and 3 of the same color crystal, but any color, so 3 blue or 3 green, and if I pay that, I can get 8 esteem points for that. Or this one says, I need 4 of any color crystal. I can do that up to 2 times, and by paying those crystals in, I can get 3 esteem points. Yeah, so if you're picking up missions along the way, you have to remember what missions you have to satisfy in order to get those points along the way. So, and when you take the card, you put it upside down here. You can look at it any time, but you don't want your opponents to know what mission cards you have. Okay, the next one is the encounter action space. And these are where you choose 2 or 3 encounter cards. When you choose, so like this one says 3 because there's 3 cards pictured on that. So I would choose 3 encounter cards, and the encounters earn you different resources. There's 2 different types of encounter cards. One has 2 blue fields like this, and also the blue fields equate to, they show 1 little meeple here, and that means that it relates to you, the player that chose the cards. Or the other type of encounter card is one that has a blue field and a purple field on the bottom, and you'll notice that the blue field has 1 meeple, and the purple field has 3 meeples to indicate that it's for everyone else. You can choose any one, and on a card where there's 2 blue, you would choose between which one you want.
Yeah.
On a card where there's a blue and a purple, you can only choose the blue one, and you get those things, but your opponents also have the option of choosing the purple.
Okay.
Basically, by choosing the blue, it means you're giving your opponents a potential advantage. When the counter cards are resolved, you discard them here. You don't take them. The next one is the crystal deposit action space. Here you have the option of buying any of the crystals that are there for 2 gold each. And when you buy a crystal, or when you get a crystal in any way, you install it into your airship. And I'll go through what those do. The next one is landing on a upgrade space, and this is where you can have the option of buying an upgrade. So if I wanted to buy this upgrade, I need to pay the amount dictated by those code letters. Whenever you see this sort of symbol of these letters here and on the encounter cards, it relates to these alpha and omega effort cards. So this is basically a key indicating what the cost of this or the cost of this is. So, but like this one, for example, I need 1 green crystal because I need 1 A, and I need 1 blue crystal because I need 1 B. So so I would pay those crystals into the bag.
Yep.
And I would take that and install it in my ship. At the beginning of every round, I earn what is on the upgrade tile. So I would earn 4 gold immediately when I place it there in the round I'm in, and then at the beginning of every round after. So not every turn, but every round. So it's a way of like souping up your airship. The next one is the gold action space. That just earns you gold directly from the bank when you land there. The last one is the encounter cards. So when I land my airship there, I take one of these encounter cards, and then depending on how many orange crystals I have in my analytic engine, it will tell me what my immediate reward is. So you get that reward once. And I have 1 orange crystal in my analytic engine, so I would get just 5 esteem points. If I had up to 5, I would get all of these things on here. So in the same way as the upgrades, you have to buy the encounter cards with the crystals dictated by the effort card. And when you're done with this, you take it and you put it here for the purpose of some of the mission cards require you to have an expedition card at the end. So you might need to use it to get your esteem points at the end. Yeah, so you'll notice that on some of the action spaces there's these additional symbols. The pink time spiral relates to the time spiral. It's called the Mr. Time generator. So I think I should go through the 6 different generators on the airship board. But yeah, basically whenever you see one of these additional symbols, you would earn those things just when you land on that space, and you only earn it once. So like if I land here, I can buy these crystals for 2 gold each, and I get 2 esteem points just that one time. Or if I land here, I get this time spiral once. If I land here, I get these, in addition to the encounter cards, I get the 2 esteem points. Right. So every action space relates to a secondary action on your airship board. So there's sort of this idea of primary actions and then bonus generators. So when I land on mission action space, it equates to the bridge bonus generator. And then when I land on the encounter space, it relates to the steam upgrade generator. When I land on the crystal deposit action space, it relates to the crystal deposit generator. When I land on the upgrade, it relates to the Mr. Time generator. When I land on the gold action space, it relates to the
vault or the
vault, the gold action generator. Yeah. And then lastly, the encounters relates to the encounter analytic engine.
Okay. So if you can't remember that, you can just look at the color.
The color of the border. The names are not that important. Okay, so basically it's a very interesting game because it's totally not linear. Like you have these primary actions, which then also generate a secondary action on your board. The secondary action is to generate bonuses, and the bridge generates esteem points, and it generates them based on the number of crystals you have in your generator. So if I had 4 crystals installed in the bridge, I would get 4 esteem points when I land on a mission. Every time you land on a mission. If I only have 1 crystal installed, it means I get 1 esteem point when I land on the mission. The blue one, the encounter, that relates to the encounter action space, is the steam generator. That generates 1 steam. The time crystal generator generates 1 clear crystal. So, 1 per black crystal that you have. So if I land on the crystal deposit with my airship, then I get 1 clear time crystal. These crystals are universally usable, so you can put them into any of your generators. Once you put them into the generator, though, they act as that color. So like this becomes a blue crystal when it's installed in the blue steam generator. Mm-hmm. The next one is the time spiral. So if I land on an upgrade space, I will generate 1 click on the time spiral, so it goes around like this. When I go around once, that gives me the ability to use the Mr. Time. Mr. Time can be deployed as if it were one of your airships, so it's sort of like a bonus action. You can use it as if you had a 4th airship. You use it immediately when you get it. You deploy it, you resolve your action, you resolve your bonus, and then you put it back for the next player to use. Then the gold action space generates gold as the bonus action. So if I have 4 of these gray crystals installed, I would get 8 gold pieces. And then the last one is the encounter one. So there's no real bonus for the encounter because the bonus is tied into the action. So the bonus, it relates directly to the card. So like it's kind of like all one and the same. Mm-hmm. It's not like 2 different things. And then you keep the card, another rule for crystal placement, so when you're getting crystals either from here or a time crystal, if you install it into a generator that has a -2 above it into one of the slots that has a -2, that means you have to pay 2 gold to put it there. So only a few of them have that. The resource steam is used to change the color of crystals when you're using them to pay for things. So like if you need to pay certain colors for upgrades or for encounters, or at the end of the game if you need to pay certain colors for missions, or if you need to pay a certain color for an encounter, you can change the color of that crystal by using 1 steam. So the steam can change a color of a crystal. It can only change it on paying, not on placing it in the board. So like if I have a green crystal, I can't use steam to place it here. I can only use steam to change the color when I'm taking it out of my, to pay for other things, yeah. And that's the basic overview of how the board is set up and how each element works.
Only one thing that I had a question still about is when you're placing your airships, can you go in the same space as someone else?
You
so if you
cannot.
had not bought all of those crystals, I can't go buy them. You
can't go there, yeah. Only one airship. Mr. Time, however, can go anywhere. It's just unlikely that you, like, some of them, like, you wouldn't want to go on an upgrade that somebody's already taken because it would be worthless.
You wouldn't get it.
But like you could go onto a crystal deposit that somebody else had maybe bought only 1 or 2 crystals from if you wanted those other 2 crystals. Only 1 actual airship per space. But like, so if I'm on this monument board, another player of another color can go on any of these other action spaces on the same board, or behind or forward. It's only within your own airship color that you have to follow the stream of time. So like a blue airship could go, on any of these action spaces for their first turn.
Yeah.